All right, on this episode of Bowks Talking Bouts, very excited to be talking to an individual competing at Oktagon 75 on September the 13th, and a bit of a switch in the opposition, but still a prominent, interesting fight all the same as Edgar Delgado Jimenez takes on Khalid Taha, and great having Khalid on Bowks Talking Bouts today. How's it going, man?
Everything good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well, but just like I said in the intro, a bit of a switch in the opposition. Initially supposed to fight Max Holzer and whatnot, but had a illness pop up a few days ago and everything like that. Like, how much, I guess, is it a different experience fighting this new opponent now relative to the approach against Max Holzer? Or is it largely just the same? Like, you're going to bring your set of skills to the octagon cage and kind of do your thing?
The opponent has like almost the same fighting style like Holzer. He's also a southpaw. He's also a jiu-jitsu black belt, and yeah, I think it's gonna be the same. He's gonna look for the shoot, for the takedown, try to take me down, try to finish me on the ground, and exactly the same what Holzer wanted to try. And yeah, so it's like almost the same fight.
I mean, that has to be good for you, just that fluid adapting to the next opponent and everything like that, and everything like that. I mean, I guess just like what you worked on in the camp, just the fact that it's still applicable to this new opponent, that has to be, great for you.
Sorry, just 1 second because my phone is like. Uh, can you still see me?
Yeah, I can still see you on my end and everything. Yeah.
Okay, because my phone is like I'm getting a call and I don't know how to stop this. Okay, excuse me again, please.
No, yeah, no worries. I was just saying it must be great for you being that this new opponent is so similar to Holzer and
Yeah,
everything. Just what you worked on in camp can be applied to this new opponent.
yeah, definitely it is because like there were we knew from the pull out, what was it, like maybe 13 days, 12 or 13 days before the fight, 14, maybe 2 weeks, around 2 weeks. And so like there's no time anymore like to change a lot, you know? So it worked well for us.
Yeah, and I mean, quite a highly touted individual too, just the highest ranked fighter from South America and the Mexican Lux Fight League champion and a four-time champion to boot and everything like that. And just yeah, it seems like a very exciting pedigreed opponent. So just great to see and everything like that. Just but yeah, what are your thoughts on your opponent's skill set and everything from what you've been able to see? Like I know you were saying before how similar stylistically he is to Holzer, but I guess just what are your thoughts on Jimenez heading into this fight here? Just what he brings to the table.
I think he's very dangerous. Like he's very experienced fighter, and like I saw from his fights, you have to be careful until the very last second, you know? So it doesn't matter how the fight goes, he never gives up. And he can change the fight like in the last second. And because of that, like we have to be very aware and have to stay focused, stick to the game plan, and do our thing.
Yeah, and it must be exciting for you that this is your third straight MMA fight in Germany and everything. I imagine there's going to be quite the crowd sentiment towards you in this one.
Yeah, sure. Because almost, I don't know, like 6, 7, 8 years before that, like couldn't fight in Germany, you know. I was like fighting all around the world. And honestly, it's also for me like much easier, you know. I don't have to travel a lot. I don't have all this jet lag stuff. I don't have all the expenses as well, you know. And so, and I like, honestly, I like to fight in front of my crowd, my family, my fans. So yeah, it's a win-win situation, you know.
Yeah, and it just seems like an interesting time in your career, just I guess in relation to, what a fight like this could potentially do for, I guess, your aspirations to be a champion. Because I mean, Losene Keita, who helmed the division before, is now readying to, fight in the UFC and everything like that as of this recording. So that has to kind of be exciting, just that openness of the featherweight title picture in Octagon now and all that.
Of course, like now, Losene Keita is in the UFC. The title is vacant, and it was like almost it was almost a title contender fight, between me and Holzer, and it was the plan like the winner of us is going to fight Keita, then Keita moved to the UFC, and I'm sure I'm the next in line. I will fight next week. Will If God will win this fight, and then I'm next in line, and I will fight for the belt.
Yeah, that would be a massive feather in your cap collecting a title like that for sure. It just seems like Octagon's been growing so much in recent years as well. So just that would have to be an exciting proposition for you, just capturing a reputable title in an organization that seems to kind of keep growing event to event and everything.
Yeah, of course, and especially it's very nice because I don't know had who was do you know who the champion was before Keita, or was he the first Octagon featherweight champion? I know they had the lightweight champion. I know they had the lightweight champion, and the featherweight champion was Ivan Buchinger, I think. The first one, then Keita, and I think I'm gonna be the third one, of course, if I get the belt. And it's like history, no, like it's very nice to write that history for me and for the fans, and I'm very excited to get that chance.
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely have quite a few Octagon MMA related questions for you. Just such an exciting promotion to follow and everything. But I thought I'd get your insights on this because I saw at one point, circa February 2022, you were scheduled to fight Mario Bautista, but then had to withdraw from that particular fight. And I guess I bring that up to just get your thoughts on that Mario Bautista versus Umar Nurmagomedov fight they announced for UFC 321.
I trained a lot with Team Khabib, but every time when I was there, first time was Umar was in. He had a fight scheduled. It was like fight week. He fought. I guess first time when I was there, he fought at PFL. Second time when I was there, he was injured, and third time when I was there, he was in fight week and didn't train. So I never had the opportunity to train with him, but like I see and like I think he's gonna beat Mario Bautista. Mario Bautista is a very high skilled all rounder. He has a crazy pace, goes always forward, can strike good, can grapple good, wrestle good, everything. But I just see Umar, his distance management, is amazing. When you see like how he fights, and it's a little bit similar to Islam Makhachev. They are both amazing wrestlers, but in the striking, they don't take damage. And that's a thing. It's very very good. And that's what Umar has. His grappling is amazing. His cardio is good. His wrestling is from another level. So I think Umar is gonna win this fight. Maybe by decision, but I think it's gonna be a unanimous one.
And you mentioned the work with that particular team, that Nurmagomedov unit and everything, and obviously a prominent person within that fold is Islam Makhachev. And I saw you fought on that Makhachev versus Moises undercard when you were in the UFC there. I guess just wondering your thoughts on that Makhachev pursuit of, being a two-division champion and that welterweight title fight against Jack Della Maddalena at Madison Square Garden later on this year. Just your thoughts on that particular fight.
Honestly, I see JDM as the perfect matchup for Islam to be the double champ. Because JDM is not that huge. Of course he's bigger, but he's not that huge welterweight, for example, like a guy like Hamza Chimaev used to be. So he's not a weight bully. He's most likely a striker. So it's kind of striker against wrestler. Islam is a huge lightweight, so he's gonna be a great welterweight, and I see him winning this fight all the way. I'm sure he's gonna be like collecting the second belt, and I see him winning this one.
Yeah, and I guess in kind of referencing the two belts dynamic, that also applies to Losene Keita, who we were talking about before and everything. I guess maybe a bit of a two-part kind of question here because he is fighting Patricio Pitbull at UFC Paris as of this recording. I guess what are your thoughts on how that particular fight plays out there? And I guess just what do you think Losene Keita, I guess, is capable of doing in the UFC, just coming from Oktagon and holding two championships in different divisions there?
I think there's not a better matchup for Losene Keita than Patricio Pitbull. Pitbull is a striker. Pitbull is even shorter than I am, so he's much shorter than Keita. Pitbull comes over from Bellator. He has he had lost his first fight. His second fight was almost a close decision to Dan Ige. I think if you put Keita against a guy like Movsar Evloev, for example, right now, he will have no chance. But I see Keita winning this fight on Saturday. Maybe he will get this done per decision, but I think he's going to get a unanimous decision. And then it depends. In my opinion, let Keita fight Pitbull and win this fight. After this fight, you have Josh Emmett fighting, what was his name? The Moroccan guy.
With who? Sorry, the upcoming Emmett fight.
Yeah.
I'm just checking to see who his next opponent is here.
The Tasmanian Devil. What was his name? The Moroccan.
Oh, Youssef Zalal. He's fighting him on October 4th at UFC 320.
Let Keita beat Pitbull this one. And after this one, let him get the winner of Emmett against Youssef Zalal. It's going to be also the perfect matchup for him. And then he starts to get used to it, to be in the UFC, fighting in the UFC, fighting in the top 15, top 10, you know. But if you put him right now against the crazy wrestlers like Evloev and this kind of guys, or like people say like Volkanovski and all this stuff, it's going to be too early. Like, don't rush him too much. But I think he's going to do very good there.
Yeah, and I wasn't intending to, I guess, ask for your thoughts on this, but I guess just since you brought it up and you think Keita fighting the winner of that UFC 320 fight would make a certain level of sense, like who do you, I guess, think would be the winner of that Josh Emmett Youssef Zalal fight to kind of, I guess, await Keita thereafter based on your prediction that he beats Pitbull?
Honestly, I had never Zalal on my radar, you know. He was a bantamweight, then he got cut from the UFC, then he got re-signed again and started at featherweight, and since then he won like every match. And honestly, if I watch him fight, he doesn't look that good. But however, he wins every fight, you know, so he has to be very good. So I'm not very sure. Josh Emmett is very dangerous, is a veteran, has a crazy knockout power, you know. So everything can happen, but at the end of the day, I see Zalal winning this fight because like he's more well-rounded, you know. But of course, Emmett, if he catches you, your light's gonna go out. So, but I lean forward to Youssef Zalal. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And it was mentioned before, like some of the people you've worked with over the years and just like that AKA refinement and stuff like that. Like I feel like a big figure from that gym is Luke Rockhold, and he recently had a bit of a rough night at the office against Darren Till at that Misfits Boxing 22 card. Do you have any particular thoughts on that fight there that happened between Rockhold and Till?
Honestly, I just saw the finish on social media. That's it. I saw there was a lot of like always with Rockhold, always with Till, a lot of like trash talk and pushing forward, backwards, everything before the fight. But honestly, I didn't watch the fight closely. I just saw the finish on social media. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess in an even broader sense beyond that fight, I guess it just shows that it's kind of an exciting time to, I guess, be a combat sports athlete. Like it seems like there's so many opportunities out there, and I feel like Rockhold has kind of embodied that in a sense too since leaving the UFC because like he fought for BKFC, Karate Combat, Craig Jones Invitational, and now Misfits Boxing. So I guess just really shows, I guess, the opportunities that fighters can kind of pursue nowadays. And just it seems like the landscape is decently healthy and all.
It's the same with Tony Ferguson. I like it, because imagine like the new fans, when they watch MMA since 1, 2, 3, 4 years, they see like Tony Ferguson as the biggest flop in history, But if you watch UFC and MMA from before, Tony Ferguson was one of the craziest lightweights of all time, you know? And that's what I like because he has a long losing streak, has like psychic like problems and all the stuff. You never know what happens, you know? And I like it that you have different opportunities now, different organizations who pay also a lot of money so that you can fight for a living, you know? And it's very very good for like the veterans, even like guys like Yoel Romero. How old is he now? 45 or something? And he's still fighting, still making a lot of money, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, he is just like such an anomaly, that guy. And yeah, I mean, 48 years old and preparing to fight in, BKFC
Wow.
in the next like week or so. I mean, just wild stuff.
Joel Romero is like an animal. He's not a human being.
Yeah, I mean, he just, I don't know, seems like a character from like a Marvel movie or something like that. But
100%.
yeah. But yeah, I was noticing and kind of combing back over, I guess, some of your previous fights that you'd also fought on a UFC Paris card that was headlined by Cyril Gahn when he had fought Tai Tuivasa. I guess, like, what are your thoughts on that Tom Aspinall Cyril Gahn fight at UFC 321? Do you have any particular thoughts on that heavyweight title fight there?
Honestly, both are very, very well-rounded and talented heavyweights. Both move like welterweights. They are both huge monsters, and I like the striking of both, but I'm leaning towards Aspinall because Aspinall is, in my eyes, like a more aggressive fighter, you know? He's looking more for the finish. Cyril Gane is like, he moves a lot. He moves very nice, very well. He has very good boxing, very good kicks, side kicks, tips, everything. But I see Aspinall is like in his total prime, and he's gonna go forward and gonna go for the finish, I think.
Yeah, definitely an interesting fight. It's one I'm excited for, and I yeah share a similar viewpoint. Both very talented heavyweight fighters, and it's been mentioned earlier in the conversation about the work that you had with Khabib Nurmagomedov and everything. Just such a legendary figure in MMA, and I feel like I guess breaking this down to like maybe even a singular I guess thing that you learned from him might be I don't know, a little limiting in a certain way. I guess, are there like a few major takeaways that you got from your time working with someone like Khabib Nurmagomedov that's really benefited your career as a fighter?
Of course, of course. First of all, the discipline, the teamwork, like to never give up, you know, and his pressure. Like I have never ever experienced a training partner like him. When I trained with him, of course, we are in different weight classes, but also like everyone else in the gym, he was like killing everyone. Lightweights, welterweights, middleweights, it doesn't matter. So it wasn't only the weight difference, you know. And he's a legend. He's a legend, and I can't wait to train with him again. And it's like worth the world to me, you know, like because his mindset, you know, he's so calm, so respectful, he's so religious, he never changed. Like it doesn't matter, like he's still the same person. It doesn't matter how much money he has, how much he never changed, you know, he never get like this crazy head like many other guys and many other people, you know, and it is not easy. When you become this famous, when you get so much money, I can imagine it makes you a little bit crazy, you know? But he was always the same. And when I first met him, second time, third time, fourth time, it was like he was like every time very welcomed. It was always a very warm welcome, and he cared also a lot about me. You know, when I was in training and all the stuff, and he watched a lot about me. He trained with me. He always like asked me when you're gonna come to train, what time you train, come to this session, come to this session. We have to do this. We have to work on your wrestling. We have to work on your ground game. So I appreciate it very, very, very much.
Yeah, and based on your backstory, where I was seeing you started Taekwondo at the age of 6 and then transferred those skills into an MMA context, I would think that working with someone who's, such a demonstrably effective grappler in Khabib would really, I guess, round out your game that much more, just how experienced you are with like the Taekwondo striking piece before that.
Honestly, my Taekwondo background isn't like, you can't call it like a background, you know. I started when I was 6 years old. Maybe I stopped when I was 7 years old or 8 years old. Like, I was very young, but that was just the first like touch or the first contact I had with martial arts, you know. Then I stopped and played like soccer for over 10 years. Then I started with boxing again and all the stuff, you know. So, but jiu-jitsu, like grappling, wrestling, and all this stuff, MMA, I got in touch the very first time was when I was 20 years young. And then like I immediately started full with MMA. Like I had no like different grappling classes or sessions or like wrestling. I started immediately with MMA then.
Yeah, I was seeing a low kick MMA interview you did that was kind of talking about that, like just ramping up into mixed martial arts competition because like you were saying you were 20 years old around that point, and from what I was seeing you weren't really, I guess, like sure when you'd first heard about MMA in Germany, like there wasn't as much access to that earlier on and everything like that. But yeah, no, it seems like you really like ramped things up from there and everything like that. Like it seems like you had an old friend who was kind of getting into all of that, and it kind of inspired your own journey to a certain extent.
Yeah, and I remember exactly when I started with MMA, I was very disgusted about grappling and wrestling, you know. Wrestling was only holding you down, and grappling was only like grabbing you and tapping you with whatever. And I had always like the thing in my mind, okay, he tries to do this triangle stuff and armbar stuff. I just gonna grab him and punch him in the face and it's gonna be over, you know? But when I was in the gym and everyone was tapping me and I drove back home and I was like, how the shit they tapped me? Like how does this, so the shit has to work, you know? So there has to be something in it. And then I started to do also grappling and wrestling and all this stuff, and then I started to like it. After I tapped the first guy in training, then I was so happy and so excited, and then I like wanted to learn more, you know? And then I realized um realized in my professional career a little bit late how important wrestling and jiu-jitsu was, because the first like few fights I started very early in my professional career, but the first few fights were all takedown defense and striking. And then I started to like, I was undefeated, you know, and then I started like, okay, it's easy. I defend the takedowns and I knock them out. That's it, you know. But of course, like the opponents, the different got better, the levels got better and all the stuff. And then I had an opponent, he was like 3-time ADCC champ and all the stuff, and number 2 ranked in Europe at this time. After Brett Jones was in the UFC. He was number 1 ranked guy, and this guy was number 2 in Europe. And then I fought this guy. I also managed to win, but he took me down. He took me like in a banana, in the inside heel hook, outside heel hook. It was such a crazy fight. And then I said, okay, now it's time for jiu-jitsu and wrestling. And then I started to like train a lot jiu-jitsu, a lot of wrestling and all the stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I love hearing about the journey, man. It's been such a cool one to follow from, I guess, the perspective of
Wait a
someone.
second, I can't hear you. Maybe my car is turned. 1 second, please.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, no, I hear again because my car switched off.
Oh yeah, no worries. I was just saying it's been cool to see your journey from the perspective of someone who, watches a lot of MMA, and now cool to, be able to talk to you with, this interview context and stuff like that. And I super appreciate you making the time, Khalid, but I do also want to be mindful of your schedule. So thought to ask if maybe you have any final parting thoughts you might want to add as we're kind of wrapping up here, man. I do appreciate you making the time today.
Thank you so much. That's it. I have nothing special to say. Like, I have another, from Oktagon, the camera team is waiting for me in 30 minutes. Then I have my training class and all the stuff. So the work goes on, and I'm happy to fight next week, and can't wait to put on a performance. And after that, I'm gonna go do my holidays, my well-deserved vacation, and gonna lean back a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, man. A well-deserved break awaits you, but super excited to see this Octagon 75 fight, man. Even though this Holzer fight fell out, this Edgar Delgado Jimenez rebooking and just the rescheduling of the fight, definitely a great opponent in his own right and everything. So super excited for this card on September 13th. And thanks so much for coming on Bowks Talking Bouts today, Khalid. Just you enjoy the rest of your day and looking forward to checking out this fight when it goes down.
Thank you so much. Wish you all the best.